So, good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to all of you for joining us today for this edition of the Chintan webinar. My name is Soumya Tiwari, and I will be the host for the evening. I'm currently pursuing my MBA from IIM Calcutta, and I'm also the head of the Impact chapter of Shiksha IIM Calcutta and UPAY. It's truly inspiring to see such a diverse group of participants, including esteemed professors, students, and professionals from various institutions, all coming together to engage in a discussion that extends beyond the classroom. Today's topic, impact beyond the classrooms and how universities can contribute to societal development, is something that holds a lot of significance. As education evolves, we believe so must our approach to how we apply our knowledge and resources to create meaningful change in the society. I would first like to take a moment to extend a special welcome to all the guests that we have from Bankura University, Kanyashri University, Jadavpur University, Bankobashi College, Amik University of Management, Rabindra Bharati University, Durgapur Law College, and IIM Calcutta. With absolute pleasure, I would now like to introduce our esteemed panelists for the day. Our first panelist is Professor Souvik Bhattacharya, who is a distinguished academic with a career spanning research, administration, and leadership in higher education. He has served as a Vice Chancellor of Jadavpur University and BITS Pilani, as Dean and Deputy Director of IIT Kharagpur and faculty at University of Canterbury, New Zealand. He has also chaired and been a member of several DST and SERB committees, IIT Jodhpur, ISC Bangalore, and National Co-Chair of FICCI Higher Education Committee. His research contributions are evident in over 265 publications, and he's also been a fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering and the National Academy of Sciences India, among others. He's a recipient of the Distinguished Alumnus Award of Texas A&M University and the Outstanding Teacher Award of INAE. He is an alumnus of Jadavpur University, University of Cincinnati, and Texas A&M University. We'd now like to move on to the next panelist, Mr. Alok Srivastav. Alok sir has been a seasoned professional with over 17 years of experience across different industries, such as consumer internet and technology, real estate, logistics, hospitality, among others. A graduate of IIT Delhi and IIM Calcutta, Alok has held key leadership roles, including CEO, founder, and business head at organizations such as JP Morgan, OYO, and 99 Acres. He's a passionate individual who's been up and about social causes and have actively contributed to initiatives under the guidance of the all-world Gayatri Parivar, focusing on promoting positive change through the thought revolution movement. Currently, Alok works as a solopreneur, helping startups raise funds and mentoring aspiring entrepreneurs through workshops at different IITs, IIITs, and various other institutes. We also have with us Mr. Vineet Dhandania, who's been an accomplished management consultant and investor with extensive experience at various leading consulting firms. Has been a successful strategy and transaction project head for various corporations and governments across different industries worldwide, including aviation, energy, private equity, urban transportation, logistics, retail, real estate, technology, and various financial institutions. Currently, Vineet runs his own consulting firm, Growth Catalysts, and is deeply engaged in thought leadership, focusing on contemporary socio-economic issues. With such a distinguished panel, we are set for an insightful discussion on how different institutions, students, and alumni can come together to drive impactful change. I would also like to now welcome our moderator for the day, Mr. Sahil Parab. Sahil, who is based out of Mumbai, completed his engineering from VIT Pune and then went on to work for Accenture as a software developer for over a year. He then joined IIM Calcutta as part of the 60th batch and is now in the second year of his MBA. He interned at Hindustan Unilever as a marketing intern and will now be working at Ola as their sales operations manager. Now, before we dive into the discussion, I'd like to hand it over to Mahendra sir, who will introduce the Impact Shiksha into Pi project with all of you, which is a wonderful initiative well aligned with today's theme. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Soumya. Thank you for the beautiful introduction of all our guests and panelists. I would like to take this opportunity to formally introduce UPAY to all our audience. UPAY is a volunteer-driven non-profit organization dedicated to improving the lives of underprivileged communities, particularly children across India. Founded in 2010 by Varun Srivastava and his friends in Kumbhari village in Maharashtra, UPAY began as a small initiative to provide education to children who lack access to schooling. Over the years, it has expanded across 10 zones, including Delhi NCR, Nagpur, Pune, Bangalore, Meghalaya, Kolkata, and many more other cities. Today, we are having 46 learning centers operating across these zones and driving meaningful changes at the grassroots level. If I talk about the impacts, we were able to directly impact over 2.5 lakh beneficiaries, including 12,000 plus children receiving education through learning centers, 500 plus students supported through our community libraries in villages, 250 plus students impacted through academic and non-academic scholarship, 13,500 plus children provided with meals to fight malnutrition. These numbers just give only small glimpse of the transformation we were able to create in communities. Now, talking about our initiatives, UPAY runs multiple programs focused on quality education and holistic development. If I talk about some of them focused on education, these are Foot Pathshala, where basically we provide education to children who are living in the street, right? Those who don't have any access to schools. There we go on the footpaths, we create some systems and we teach those students. Another is Reach and Teach Centers. Basically here the underserved communities, school children who may be going to school but don't have that quality education. So we kind of provide a platform where they can basically learn education. Third is day boarding centers, where we provide offering a safe and nurturing learning space. And fourth is the community library, where we provide books and other reading materials so that they can have this reading and self-learning. Now, coming to our UPAY Kolkata chapter, we expanded in Kolkata in the year 2023 with one of our first centers in East India. At Kolkata, we are actively running Reach and Teach centers. Our centers are located in Pandit Lane in Garyahat and another one in Bidan Nagar. Both the centers cater to the children of daily wage laborers and migrant workers. We work to provide the children with better educational opportunities and learning resources. We have a dynamic group of youngsters who has taken the responsibility to make education accessible for the children. The best part is like UPAY is a voluntary-driven organization. So most of the volunteers themselves are students who are guided by some experienced volunteers, professionals, and retired social enthusiasts who are the flag bearers of UPAY's Kolkata zone. Now coming to our impact partner, Siksha. So we are very much proud to collaborate with Siksha and Calcutta as an impact partner to support these initiatives. Shiksha is a special interest group at IIM Calcutta dedicated to improving education standards for underprivileged students. It allows students of IIM Calcutta to engage in teaching, mentorship, and skill development while gaining valuable exposure to social impact work. Today, UPAY and Siksha are building sustainable ecosystem for education by supporting mentorship and community engagement. These are some of the picks which are done in collaboration with IIM Calcutta. Now talking about our most ambitious initiative, Each One and Teach One. This aims to engage college students across in India for creating a nationwide network of mentors and learning opportunities. With 40,000 plus colleges in India, we believe that this initiative has the potential to drive a large-scale change. So how it works? Let me explain that. So this core of the initiative is the social credit system, where the college students earn credits for mentoring and teaching. At the same time, the post 10th grade students who are the beneficiaries receive structured learning opportunities. This program operates through a structure framework where we have impact partners. Under this, like IIM Calcutta is one of Shiksha IIM Calcutta is our impact partners, right? Which help us in implementing and scaling these initiatives. Then we have college ambassadors. These are the students leaders who promote awareness and participation from different colleges, especially if I talk about Calcutta. So these will be the different college chapters or college will be there. And third is the change makers. These are the volunteers who will mentor and teach students directly. Next one. Okay, so this is one of the, if I talk about the college chapters which we have already done, so this is one of the picture of our recent college chapter which we have inaugurated with GL Bajaj, right? The MOU signing ceremony, as well as some event which we have did like Chintan, uh, panel discussion, which we did on the Women's Day only 3 days back. So how the students can get benefited, right? So in this, students will be participating in tutoring and mentorship program, community-based learning initiatives. They will also participate in social outreach programs like Chintan, I mean the photograph which I've shared before, and solution-driven programs like Samadhan. I will briefly introduce about Samadhan. So Samadhan is mostly a solution-driven program. Here, what we do, we take problem statement from different NGOs. We offer those problem statements to different students all over India. After that, those students have to come up with some problem solutions, right? Those ideas will be shared with our mentors. Those ideas which are selected by our mentors, they will be given a chance for mentorship, right? Those students will actually go on the field, work on that, and try to come up with a solution which can be implemented. And maybe some of them will get a chance to become social entrepreneur. Okay. So if I talk about the benefits of joining this, the students will get a real social impact chance, right? So they will be actually contributing to meaningful change in education. They will get a chance for leadership and volunteering experience, like hands-off mentorship and community engagement, recognition and social credits, right? They will get certificates for academic and career growth. And the last one is exclusive IT alumni network, right? So all those students who will be connected with us through this program, they will have a priority for internship and placement with UPAY's corporate partner. So how can we collaborate? Okay. Uh, so the college and universities can partner with us by becoming change makers. Students can join us as change ambassadors by participating in that. And organizations, they can support us through CSR and impact partnership. Okay. So additionally, college can also partner us in executing major events like Samadhan, Chintan to drive impactful change. Lastly, I would like to thank Shiksha and Calcutta for playing a crucial role in expanding this initiative, particularly engaging college across Eastern India. Through these collective efforts, UPAY is not just ensuring education for underprivileged children, but also supporting skill development and sustainability community growth. Now, to guide us through this insightful conversation, I'm happy to welcome our moderator, Sahil. With his expertise and keen perspective, he will lead our panel through an engaging discussion. Sahil, over to you.
Thank you, Mahindra sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sahil, your moderator for tonight. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to today's impactful panel discussion. We're here to talk about a cause which is very close to our hearts, empowering underprivileged children through education. UPAY NGO strongly believes that every child deserves access to quality education, and our Each One Teach One initiative embodies this belief. By engaging college students across India, we create a network of support, mentorship, and learning opportunities that can change lives. We are also proud to share that the Shiksha team from IIM Calcutta, as an impact partner, has been an essential force in driving this initiative forward, particularly in engaging colleges in the eastern region. As someone representing Shiksha, it's truly exciting to see the incredible synergy between colleges, corporate, and academia coming together to create a movement that transcends traditional boundaries. Through the collaboration of academia, where future leaders are shaped, corporate partnerships, where resources and mentorship can be harnessed, and the energy of college students, who are the change makers of tomorrow, we have an unparalleled opportunity to not only reach more children, but also empower an entire generation. Today's discussion will explore how we can leverage this powerful collaboration to create lasting impact. With our esteemed panel of leaders from academia, the corporate world, and the social sectors, we'll dive into the concrete steps needed to make Each One Teach One initiative a national movement. Let's get started and explore how we can all contribute to building a brighter future for these children. As I welcome all our panelists, each of our panelists has a wealth of experience in the corporate, academia, and social sectors. From their own journeys, there will be many personal experiences that has inspired them to contribute to community causes. Today, we will be leveraging these insights to encourage college students to take similar steps. My first question would be to Alok sir. Sir, with your background in both corporate world and your hands-on involvement in the social initiatives through Pragya NGO and Dev Sanskriti Vidyalaya, What have you found the most effective way to bridge the gap between corporate success and social impact? How can students, especially those pursuing graduation, be encouraged to prioritize community initiatives like Each One and Teach One?
Right. No, first of all, thanks so much for asking that, Sahil, and warm welcome to everyone, to Shovik sir, Vineet ji, Varun ji, and everyone who's out there. So, I'll talk about what have I seen and what have I witnessed, and what has not worked also. So many a times I feel that we, speak about certifications, we speak about badges, we speak about, uh, you know, some sort of a support, which comes later, which acts as an incentive for the person to get involved in social activities and social causes. But with whatever little experience I've had with the Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya and the initiatives under AWGP, I've seen that unless and until people are or the students are actually touching, with the ground reality, and they themselves uh, feel that urge that they have got the talent, they have got energy, and they can be a change. So going out in the ground actually helps. So there I would say, firstly, lot of social internships within the community with the corporates is one thing that I would say helps. Second thing, what I've seen, and I've seen it in Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, is that the entire ecosystem in the college is attuned to social work, not just on paper or not just on certificates, but actually it's a part of mainstream. For example, I'll just quote a university. So let's say if you have a university and you see a lot of name rolls, right, on the people who have ranked one, rank two, rank three, the way placements are celebrated. I would say that there is a definitive need for the academia, for the faculty, and for the students to come together and celebrate successes. Hello? Yeah, sorry, I think there's some disturbance. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, you can
Yeah, yeah.
continue.
To celebrate, the success on the social impact side the same way, and I would say as an alumni of IIM Calcutta, the way we celebrate our placements, right? So it's a long shot. And third thing, I don't know how many of us have seen a documentary on Netflix. If you have, you could just raise your hand. Buy Now. That's so. Buy Now is around, how whenever you go for a corporate job and you see success there, and you get placed in the campus and you see success there, there is an element that you're a part of the society, and that needs to come inside you as early as possible, so that sensitization of the students in the campus is something which I believe would really help. So for example, in Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, what we do is, along with the normal graduation ceremony, there is a Gyan Diksha, right? So in Hindi, there is a word called Shiksha, and there is a term called Vidya, right? So all in all, prioritizing Vidya as much as Shiksha. So you have Gyan Diksha, you have students, they have to plant 5 trees, without which they do not get a degree, right? The social internship is sort of compulsory. So these things kind of inherently make you believe that you have to do something for the society, and once it happens, then there are better collaborations which can happen with the students at the university, along with the faculty and the alumni, and things could move forward in a sustainable manner. I'll just pause here, and yeah.
Thank you, sir. Could totally relate with you as an postgraduate student at IIM Calcutta as well. My next question to Souvik sir would be, so throughout your distinguished academic leadership career, including your roles as Dean and VC of prestigious colleges like IIT Kharagpur, Jadavpur University, and BITS Pilani, you have worked on shaping university curriculums and student engagement. So, reflecting on your own experience in academia, what do you think is missing in how we currently approach student involvement in social causes? And how can universities incorporate these lessons to make volunteering more central to students' educational journeys?
Thank you. Thank you, Sahil. Thanks everyone for having me. It's actually a huge privilege for being part of this sort of team. I think some of the answers are already coming through. If I was listening to I think Mahendra and then Sahil, you talked about UPAY, and now Alok mentioned a few things. So there are some missing elements. These we feel, many of us we feel that these are crucial elements which probably would transform these student experiences in universities from the so-called nice to have activities into powerful educational tools. That's the first feeling. Um, there is a disconnect. There is a disconnect. I am referring to the university, the organization, the governance, the administration, and what is the right thing to do. And many organizations, many institutes, they still treat volunteering as something separate from real learning. This is unfortunate, but that's the psyche in most of us. It's they think that it's that thing students do on weekends or during breaks, that sort of thing, not something integrated into their core education, right? But why? The classroom and the community should be connected spaces of learning. Many of us and many of these initiatives we already heard of, including the ones from Calcutta and many other institutes. I'll probably later on try to talk about some of these. Amongst the faculty members, amongst us, there is this resistance to giving academic credit for such work, which is good for the society, good for the community. Other than say Barun will remember EAA, extra academic activity, or NSAs and things like that, which are there. But that's like you have to do it, you will get a credit, and whether there is the benefit out of that activity into the society, into the community, that's a different ballgame altogether. So there is still this perception that rigor only happens in classrooms and laboratories, that it can't happen otherwise. And that we need to get out of that psyche first. So, what will happen, what will work better is something that bothers us. So we can't really have these add-ons. It has to be somehow integrated. I think the acceptance of this by the university leadership is very important. And I think we'll talk about. I think we heard about certification and badges, but curricular integration is important. Alok just mentioned that recognizing the champions along with similar recognitions in the university, that has to be there. It's the integration will happen in the curricular structure, like a single element in the curriculum, in the syllabus, or in the credit system. But it also has to happen, these sort of elements sort of dovetailed into various courses. It won't be possible for every course, but various subjects, I mean, when I say course, that has to happen. Engineering students or business school students, it is not difficult. I think IMC is displaying that. And these are not distractions from learning, is something we need to really tell ourselves. Assessment is a blind spot. When you have these elements, how do you assess? This is a difficulty. These scaffolds and the frameworks are not very well established. It's not proven yet, but this is something we can do, because universities will always ask that question. How do you assess whether a student has done well or not? I'm sure organizations like UPAY and many others, they are actually doing it out there, and I'm sure they'll be able to contribute in creating these frameworks. The solutions aren't complicated in my mind, and I think one example I'll talk about in terms of the curricular integration is, we already heard the term from Alok, I think. BITS Pilani has this wonderful practice pool, which is a full semester in the final year out there, and go out and work in real environment, typically industry or research labs. So we can have a societal PS or practice pool. with social startups or anybody who is doing it. But there's one little snag there that I immediately can think of, or NGOs. But many of these organizations may not be able to pay a reasonable stipend for the sustenance of the student during that time, and what their expectations are also. So there, I think we need to really work on. Today, universities are raising, good universities, some of them are raising reasonably good amount of funds through alumni, through CSR, and various other, philanthropic avenues. So I think some of that should be set aside, clearly a mark for this, for social internship, which has to be immersive, and that will. Yeah, I think the people who are inclined, in students who are inclined in these directions, would be able to get a really good curricular element where they can actually contribute, and the benefits are very obvious. Yeah, I'll stop here.
Thank you, sir. Definitely something to think upon. And I'm sure it's food for thought for everyone present over here. So my next question would be to Vineet, sir. Sir, with your extensive corporate experience and as a key member of the IIM Calcutta Alumni Association, you've seen how alumni networks can influence and shape the future of students. And drawing from your own experience, how can alumni and corporate leaders create more impactful opportunities for students to contribute to social causes? And what would be the key motivators for them to do so?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. And you mentioned about motivators for students to do this. So I feel that especially B schools, motivation is already there. Um, while I do not want to make it look like a quid pro quo, but you see, every corporate wants people who own problems. So let's say you are walking on the street and you see something littered, right? There are two ways to look at it. One way is it's everybody's problem. It's dirt on the street. Why should I? Right. The other way to look at it, why not I? Right. And if you are a manager in a corporate, you would want your team members to have the why not I attitude rather than the why should I attitude, right? Because you can never have a well defined job description which tells you exactly what you do, right? Especially when you are in the management cadre, you do things which nobody else does, right? And you would want people who take up things, who own things, and do not shirk away from things which is everybody's problem, right? So from that perspective, companies want to recruit those people who naturally show a why not I attitude, right? So that motivation is always there. However, if you want to make it very obvious, it sounds like a quid pro quo kind of a thing where I do things for CV points, right? That defeats the whole purpose. I'm not volunteering because I want to get into a certain organization, because I want to be a preferred candidate. I want to do this because I think this is important. I think this is everybody's problem and therefore also my problem. So that way there are some motivators already there. However, considering the level of education in our country, considering that education really is the key enabler of of somebody's life. So I feel that even if it comes across as a quid pro quo, I think we should still go ahead and do it. So there needs to be more mainstream support, as Alok just mentioned, and like Shovik sir mentioned about how things can be done in universities. Similarly, alumni associations, like for example, the Alumni Association of IIM Calcutta, can actually help uh, institutes, not just IIM Calcutta, but really any educational institute, to make social engagement of students more mainstream. And this can be achieved by providing not just resources in terms of, let's say, donations or internships, but also non-monetary support to these programs. I remember when I was a student at IIM Calcutta, I was a member of a body called CEI, where we were helping rural women, or semi-rural women rather, in their entrepreneurship activities, to help them generate sustainable living. However, I can tell you the amount of effort we used to put in there was very limited, and there was not really a proper support, a formal mainstream support from the organization. It was more of an add-on, and like our esteemed panelists just mentioned that it needs to be more mainstream. So one example could be that professors don't want to give it a proper credit course, right? And in a way, to think about it, yeah, that's also fair to give, not to give credit to such programs, but there could be a different type of credit rather than academic credit, but potentially a different type of credit which could be given for social sector engagement. So what I said was just an example of how this problem can be approached. But what is more important is that at every level there is support to this problem. There is an acknowledgement that this is a problem, and solutioning can be done. I gave one solution. It may not be the best solution. It is probably not the best solution. And if you open it to think tanks and to people who have held leadership positions in universities, they'll probably come up with much better ideas as to how this could be implemented. The point is that this needs to be recognized as a problem and solutions need to be found. If academic credit is not the solution, potentially give other sorts of credits. Alumni associations, alumni can be very, very supportive to these activities. The reason is simple. Uh, we alumni who want to recruit from our organization, from our educational institutes, we actually want such people who are naturally inclined to have the why not I attitude. I'm not sure if I answered your question very well, but I just wanted to give you, some thoughts that I had in mind since a long time.
No, sir, definitely. I think how to take social causes mainstream and the role that ownership plays from the students, that is really insightful. And as we're going forward, I would also encourage all the guests and attendees to put in their questions in the chat as we once our discussion with our panelists ends, we can take up Q&A. So my next question would be to Alok sir. Having volunteered and worked in the social sector, you've seen firsthand the challenges faced and by undeserved communities. So how do you think your experiences with these NGOs could help in shaping the kind of initiatives that attract college students to engage with social causes, especially in terms of skills and knowledge that they can gain from such experiences?
No, very good question, Sahil. So, and before I answer that, I just wanted to carry a bit forward on one of the point that I mentioned earlier. Whenever we kind of go for a social work or a social, impact project, uh, what I have seen is once you go out, so I'll just share a small example and how I came into this. So I go for book distributions every Saturday and Sunday mornings to various parks in Dwarka, and take out books. And I live in Delhi in a very good locality. I literally did not have idea that so many people in my locality are illiterate. I have that idea that गांव में बहुत से लोग नहीं पढ़े हैं, रूरल इंडिया में नहीं पढ़े हैं, बट शहरों में इतने लोग, I didn't have an idea. So first thing is going out there, whatever. And I'll just take Mr. Varun's example. मतलब he would also have seen something, and he would have realized something that is why he started with UPAY. So going out for us to go out into the field and actually deal with, actually engage with those people would inherently bring out that desire to serve them. Now universities and colleges are a good ground because there we have a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Now, and as sir also mentioned, now while we are doing it, some sort of a support if we could get from the university, let's say if I spend that much of time or if I spend that much of energy, that would be good enough. The thing which drives me and drives many other people is and the currency here would be hard to say, but happiness. So well, let's say when I am going out for such a cause, and let's say there are 10 other people who are just coming for such a cause, or 20 people are coming for such a cause, I believe everybody has that same vibration. Everybody has that willingness to do something for the society. It definitely is not for money. They are not definitely getting any tangible benefit out of it. But what drives me and what I have seen, people who are working along with me on the projects, what drives all of us is that, we all come together, let's say every Saturday, Sunday, or even weekdays, And it's just that the company of being with them, having similar thoughts, we all brainstorm about what to do for 2025, 26. So this company of like-minded people is very, very hard to get. Any institution, we say, any corporate, we say, this is the priced asset, I would say. So one really good incentive for anyone to be in such sort of a work is that he or she will be surrounded by like-minded people, and can move forward in their causes. I'm not sure if I answered your query, Sahil.
No, sir.
You
I
want
think I can. Yeah, I can understand what you mean by the drive that the students and the communities need for taking this initiative forward. I My next question would be to Shavik sir. Sir, you've been part of several institutions where students have led initiatives for betterment of society. Based on those experiences, what are some best practices that universities and colleges can adopt to officially integrate programs like Each One Teach One? And what would be the potential benefits to both students and the wider community as well?
Right. Thanks, Sahil. Good question. I have to look back and so some of the elements again that comes to my mind now is one is something we have hinted at. If we secure the executive university's executive leadership endorsement for such activities, then life becomes so much easier. When the university leadership publicly champion these initiatives. It has to be done publicly. They signal the institution's priorities. That immediately happens, and so subsequently down the line, resource allocation and policy development, they become so much easier. That's one. And then when you say best practices, I probably will have to give specific examples. I'll come to one such example, and hopefully it will be short. We talked about the curricular embedding of such activities, and that has to happen. And how do we sustain those is something that we need to worry about. The benefits are, I also worry about why students should do it. The benefits to the society is very obvious, but the benefits to the individuals, you all have talked about it. It's so deep. We haven't done this. It builds a person. It transforms a character almost. You learn how to discern life. That's so much important. You become a better citizen, obviously. Um, the the other part is the universities can do a bit of suppose it's a social startup. There are some good practices. How do you universities can only do early stage incubation of such startups, but then these startups will have to carry forward and become somebody to reckon with. So I'll share one example which is quite unique in my reading. The universities could also, there's some places it has happened, the universities could also establish some kind of an interdisciplinary social innovation lab, which requires, a lot of international organizations, could be different type of organizations. They do global, funding, competitive funding, etc. So we become eligible for that, and then the students who are involved with that, they can get supported. And you do initiatives out there. People talked about ground level. You have to feel the real ground. That will happen, and that requires support. Society won't be able to support these programs. So such social innovation labs, I'm sure there are good examples. I do know some, but I may not. You need, when you have such social startups, the early stage incubation within the university campus, you need mentorship. We talked about industry mentorship, we talked about VCs and things like that. Here, organizations like UPAY and I'll talk about Nirman a bit right away. Their mentorship presence will be of real value. I think I need to mention a little bit about IIT Kharagpur. Barun is from Kharagpur. There's a good bit of Kharagpur presence in UPAY, and I can't deny that. I have worked there for 3 decades, so I think there is a center for AI for societal needs. And today, so they are doing quite a bit in various areas like flood and cyclone forecasting, or maybe water management, maybe healthcare and advancement in microfluidics. And so the technology intervention in these directions will be of great use. Otherwise, if universities don't bring in the intellectual aspect of it, this could happen in any other organization. So the universities has to play its special role so that it's enriching, it's more powerful, and the embedding of this. I think so. So the technology, embedding or intervention is of valuable use. So the story of Nirman is something which is of a lot of, let me spend a minute or so on this. This is a 20-year-old story. So Nirman was, still is, it's the social network within the university, something like an NSS setup. It's called Nirman, NIRMAAN. And it's in each of the BITS campuses. There were 4 campuses, Dubai, Pilani, Goa, and Hyderabad, and now Mumbai campus. So the interesting twist is Nirman still works like this, and Pilani being in a very odd location, odd meaning it's very rural, very backward, I would say, which hasn't seen the light of development. In spite of the presence of BITS Pilani, you'll be surprised how Pilani is, those of you who have been there, the surrounding villages, etc. So you have a lot of room for work. That's what it, the opportunity is available there. So Nirman continues to do that in various sectors. Let me not go into all the details. But the story of Nirman is a couple of guys, and one of them Mayur Patnala, who is currently leading Nirman. So they moved back to after some years of work. They created this NGO. Interestingly, I don't know the legal repercussions, but they retained the name Nirman. So Nirman today is that, and they have moved it, took it to scale. This is a example of how universities can be powerful incubators of social innovation. So the seed was sown in BITS Pilani, of course, during their student days and subsequently as well. So let me just give you, those of you who are not familiar with Nirman, I'm citing some stats here. It has impacted over 4 million beneficiaries. It's across, something like UPAY also has very commendable stats today in a shorter time. Nirman operates in 25 states and union territories. It is engaged with over 200 corporate champions and the support of over 10,000. This is the part which I like. I think it is about 12,000 individual volunteers. So it's a very, very large network for such activity, and which will have an impact. So what is interesting to me about Nirman is that which is truly remarkable in my mind is its ecosystem approach. It's not just temporary solutions. It creates a framework. It creates sustainable pathways that going to make a difference in future days. It's not dependent on individuals. It's not dependent on groups. The succession strategy, etc. Everything is taken care of, and the social and the economic empowerment, whatever it wants to do, does happen, on a continuous basis. It happens for a long time, so that the change actually takes place. There are examples in IIT Bombay. There is this Sitara and things like that. There are, Ashoka has something in a very organized curricular structure. I think Amrita University did something during some major catastrophe and so on. But what is interesting to me about BITS Pilani and Nirman is that the dovetailing, the association, the collaboration, almost seamless. It continues to happen. So Nirman keeps coming, the professional Nirman body, almost, NGO, keeps working with BITS Pilani's each campus Nirman unit, and they continue to guide. So BITS Pilani is almost like hands off. They're fortunate that their own Nirman has become such a professional body. So this is probably not very common, but these examples also teach us how things can work and what other things will not work. I think I'll stop here. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Thank you. So that was really very insightful. And it was interesting to hear about Nirman and BITS Pilani as well. So my final question to Vineet sir would be, regarding a previous discussion that happened and the things that you spoke about designing meaningful rewards by companies and alumni associations. like internships, stipends, or certificates to drive student participation uh, uh, for community-driven initiatives like Each One and Teach One. How did such incentives work for you in the past roles? Do you have any examples that you could share with us?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I'll share examples from a couple of organizations I've worked at. So, for example, at Deloitte, every year the top management organizes a 1 day out volunteering day for the entire organization. And at Oliver Wyman, also the top management encourages actively the entire staff to go for a volunteering tour. Typically, it lasts a few days, and there is a proper support from the organization. However, what I have seen lacking is that uh, these again remain sort of like an add-on, like something at the periphery. While there is championing from the top management, your immediate boss will probably think, some productive hours wasted, So it needs to percolate down at every level. There needs to be support at every level. And this can come in if it's built into the culture. It can start right at the recruitment. I'll give an example. uh, if you go for a consulting interview, a typical question would be, you are given a scenario and asked, how do we increase revenue? Now, let me offer a completely different question, okay, which will force you to think about problem solving in the social sector. So, for example, before 2019 in Saudi Arabia, women could not drive by themselves, right? They need to be chaperoned. Now, let's say you are Saudi government and you are contemplating allowing women to drive by themselves. What is the economic impact? Measure. Give me a measure. So, questions like these will actually force people to do problem solving in the social sector. A very different example, could be, um, how many seats should India have in bachelor's program in botany honors? Let me give you a little background. The other day I was talking to a guy. I asked him, what do you study? He said, botany honors. I asked him, do you want to be a botanist? He said, no. So I asked him, he said, there are not many people become botanists. So I said, then why are you studying botany honors? His response startled me. He said, this is what I got. So people are studying what they got, not what they want to study. He doesn't even see himself becoming a botanist. So that brings a question, are we teaching botany because there are teachers who can teach and there are students who don't know why they are learning it? Or are we teaching botany because we want botanists in the economy or the society, right? So a question for a company to ask in a job interview could be, estimate how many seats should India have in the bachelor's program in botany honors. So when you think of these kind of questions, that's when social sector problem solving is integrated into the psyche of the students as well as professionals. So these are just one example from the recruitment aspect, but in other things also, uh, embedding social sector involvement within the organization as part of the culture, not as a peripheral thing. It could come in the form of allocating resources, money as well as otherwise. For example, thought leadership, uh, managerial bandwidth, even all hands across staff bandwidth to social sector engagements, like the example I gave you about Deloitte and Oliver Wyman. Um, Also, funding social internships, providing, running contests at universities which solve social problems. We hear, in the news often all the time, people talking about there is unemployment, there is unemployment. I've not heard a single news channel or any expert uh, answer how employment is generated. I've not heard even one. So it would be great if universities, especially B schools and other such universities, if they come up with solutions as to how employment is generated, what stymies the process, and what can be done to solve it. So these are some examples of how organizations could help, and how students could help, and how organizations could encourage students to participate more in social sector problem solving.
Thank you, sir. Sir, your take on problem solving was really very interesting. Took me back to my consulting case interviews that we used to do.
Interesting.
Uh, yeah. So it was really interesting to hear all of the insights. I took back a lot from it. I'm sure the participants and the attendees also did. And I'm sure everyone has a lot of questions to our esteemed panelists as well. So I would encourage everyone to put
I'll
in their
just add
questions.
one thing. Sorry, I'll just add
Sure,
one
sure,
one
sir.
little thing here.
Yes, sir.
So you as UPAY, why you are doing a lot towards mobilizing volunteer force, right? And that does help, of course. But it would also make sense to for you to participate yourself more in the real problems of the education sector. And when I say the real problems of the education sector, the solutioning has to start from first principles approach. What do we want to achieve from the education? If somebody passes a secondary or senior secondary school exam but has no idea what is Archimedes' principle, although they have studied it, they have no idea what is I don't know, maybe another example, but uh, then the learning outcome is not there. You know, I'll give you another example. Okay, nothing great is coming to my mind right now. Okay, yeah, one thing. Uh, when we study calculus, integration, we are given an expression and we are asked to integrate it, and we have learned the ways to integrate it. In real life, nobody will give you an expression. The real mathematics is in modeling a situation into something which needs to be integrated. And if we don't understand that, if we are always only integrating and a given expression, we will never really be able to apply it. And as a matter of fact, I once had to apply it in the retail industry. You will not believe it. And unless you understand what integration really means, you will not have a situation in your life when you are able to apply it. And if we are not able to apply it, we will remain copy pasters. It's a controversial statement I'm making right now, but I'll substantiate it. Look at Indian um, look at Indian film industry or TVs. Now, we have a lot of reality shows from Boogie Woogie, all sorts of reality shows, and every single thing is copied from the West or from some other place, whether it is KBC, whatever you call it, everything is copied. Why is it that we have not been able to come up with even one? Every single reality TV concept is copied. Why have we not been able to innovate even one? Because our education system hasn't really uh, made us capable enough to innovate ourselves. If we keep copying and pasting everything, it doesn't work. Our brains don't develop. If we don't understand a topic but we still get marks, it doesn't help, right? And like the example I gave you, the guy was studying botany honors without having any idea why he's studying botany honors. So he said, "This is what I got." That's not an answer I want. You should be, are you wasting 3 years of your time because this is what you got, or because this is what you want? Are you doing things mindlessly, or are you doing things because there is a purpose to it, right? So what is the purpose of education? Are we getting the learning outcomes? These are some things which I feel UPAY can help. UPAY can do some thinking around. Are students getting the learning outcomes, or are they just passing exams?
Yes, sir. That is definitely insightful. And I'm sure there are a lot many questions from the attendees as well. So I would like to encourage all the attendees to ask questions. We have faculty members from various colleges. If you have any questions for our panelists, we can take them now. We can have suggestions, questions from our panelists who have taken out time for us. Anyone having a question could unmute or put in their questions in chat as well. While people come up with questions, there is maybe one question that I would like to ask, if that is all right. So maybe open to everyone. We see that technology is at the forefront of education right now. So, how can universities foster innovation that benefits underprivileged communities?
Now, Sahil, before you proceed, I just want to, because I think some of the esteemed faculty members have joined from different institute. So it would be great, I think, if we can hear them also, because the purpose of this meeting was, and this interaction was, to get insight from all the faculty members and all the esteemed institutes. So I think we have Keka ma'am from Vidyasagar Women College. So it would be great if you can introduce yourself and any suggestion. And similarly, I will invite all the members, all the faculty members, and would
Hello, Varun. This is Keka
uh,
here. A very good evening, and a very good evening to all the esteemed luminaries who have presented their thoughts so beautifully. I am very, very grateful to Oritrika as well, who actually happens to be my sister, my cousin sister. Thank you, Oritrika. And yeah, this has been really a very delightful, very insightful session. And I was delighted. I was enriched a lot, I would say, to hear, to listen to all these esteemed luminaries, I would say. And what is very interesting is in my college, I am actually the program officer. I am the convener of NSS wing, that is National Service Scheme wing. So which also takes care of this service. I'm sorry for that. Which also takes care of the service initiative. So the thoughts that the dignitaries have presented today, those have been very, very insightful to me. And I just was wondering, in the cobweb of curriculum and attendance and questions and exams, it actually leaves very little time for social activities. And in the post corona era, what I find is, this is my personal experience, that the students, they have become a lot more inert. They don't are no longer that active. So we have to actually goad them, we have to pester them to, okay, please come forward, and you have to engage yourself in social activities. You have to be a bit more responsible. So they are not really interested in doing anything which actually doesn't give them any tangible return, or any sort of return in the sense that they get marks or something like that. So that is one area where which has to be reckoned with, taken seriously, I think. So that is one area I was pondering, I mean, what to do about it, because even in my college I am falling short of ideas, because I have been goading them, pestering them, but then they're not really able to come out of their shell. So that is one downside of the post corona era, I think.
no, no, I think this is one major challenge. I think
Absolutely.
we are having a lot of collaborations with different institutes, and the same kind
Mm-hmm.
of problems we always listen from institute side, that the current generation and post COVID era, these kind of
Mm-hmm.
challenges we are definitely facing. I think
Yes.
Ratna ma'am wants to say something. Ratna ma'am, yes, please.
Yeah, I'm Ratna Ghosh from Jadavpur University, ex-student of Kharagpur. So yeah, and Shobikda and all the others from Kharagpur and the people I know. Uh, it was great to hear all three of you, Shobikda, Alok, and Vineet. So lots of interesting insights, and some which I knew, some which are thought-provoking. Uh, the reason why I did not respond to Sahil's uh, uh, initial statement was because there can't be immediate questions or immediate solutions, as I see it, to any of these questions. It was good to hear these, but these are, I think, Varun, thank you for organizing this, because this lays open a whole Pandora's box. And I agree with Keka. Hello, Keka. So I agree with her. And
Yes,
with
ma'am.
all our findings, that we are finding that the student mindset has totally changed.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather find it easier now to have volunteers. Even for UPAY, I looked out for volunteers among the semi-retirees or the retirees, not from the youth. Today, I was asked to pull in students.
Mm.
They don't come to my class. Why would they come to you? They have
Yes.
more at stake in my class than they have here. And even then, they don't land up there. they think they have other ways of getting around it. God bless them. I hope they have, but I don't know how to engage them. Had I got a response to that, yeah, prod them, do this, do that, they'll come back, I would have willingly taken it up. But naturally, nobody has an easy solution to that. But since the COVID time itself, right from then, and slightly before that itself, in Jadavpur, we've been facing that from 2 or 3 years before that itself. My personal perception is that the way education has been, human education has been, it is time for that to change. Particularly the crux at which we are standing, the need and the relevance, as Vineet also pointed out, of conventional education, the way this course, read that, do that, that necessity is perhaps going off. Maybe the current generation is responding to that itself. They are seeing it as futile. And maybe it is we who need to change, because we are used to that. I agree that I still feel I have something to teach them, so they might as well come and learn from me. But we have to realize that they have to learn, and what they have to learn, they have to be able to vocalize. They have to want to come and say that out. They still haven't come to that point, but something in the system has to give. And for that, not just merely this kind of one meeting, but several meetings have to come up at different spaces. Only then can we get somewhere. Arunima has a hands up already, so thank you for, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. I think nice insight, and that is the very reason why we organize this meeting, and we want to take it forward. And we are doing it in different cities, because together we can definitely find a solution for these kind of problems. And the idea is that if we can give some incentive to these students, so where the help of alumni and the corporate, we are thinking that we have a lot of corporate partners, so if we can give them suppose internship or job opportunities at our corporate partners companies, I think that can be one incentive. But I think we will hear it from Arunima ma'am, and then we have, yes, Arunima ma'am, please.
Yes, good
Just
evening.
before that, sorry, Arunima, could I just barge in for a few seconds?
Sure.
One thing, Varun, that is, since you're organizing it across the country in various places, you have a compendium of the suggestions and inputs from various people. So if you could share that among the various groups, that would be really nice.
Absolutely, ma'am. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Arunima ma'am.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Really happy to be here. Myself, Dr. Arunima Dhar from Rabindra Bharati University, and an assistant professor in social work. So, why I couldn't resist myself, I really agree to what Keka ma'am and Ratna ma'am just said. Like, it is very difficult, and I think I had a discussion, face-to-face discussion with Varunji also. Like, it has been really difficult for me as a practitioner as well as an academician in social work, like pulling the students where they are supposed to, please, they're supposed to be pleased in the fields, they're supposed to be, be more human, I guess, and then start working. So that is really lacking. So I don't know what we or how we can start, but yes, we really need to start. We really need to do something. So yes, really, like giving suggestions and making meetings, I think more than that we need to work in the field.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Arunima ma'am. I remember our discussion, and
Yes, we had a long
it's
discussion. Yes.
always insightful, ma'am. We have
Thank
Dr.
you.
Shana from Bankura University, ma'am. I think if you can share your experience, or am I audible? And we have, I think, Swati Saha ma'am from Amik University. Any thought from your side? Yes, hello.
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Actually, I joined in late. So, okay.
Okay,
But
okay, ma'am. We're just actually discussing that since you people are coming from different institute, and you might be having a lot of experience that how we can encourage students to participate in community service, and that is why we are bringing everyone together at one forum
yeah,
to share each other experience. So I think we have heard our delegates from different universities and organizations. So, from our panelist side, if you can answer and if you can have any
but
suggestion.
I think it's a general problem in
Right.
every subject. We are from social work, but we are facing also this problem. It is difficult to bring student community or college.
Yes, we have to find a solution together. Like,
Yeah.
Varun, can I
yes, sir. Yes,
share
yes, sir. Please, please, please.
some very briefly? One or two observations, we heard from Arunima Keka. I think one of the challenges uh, for commuting institutes, which are not residential institutes, is time. I think Keka referred to that. I have fortunately, I would say fortunately, I've worked mostly all my life in fully residential schools, and there the advantage is the student has a lot more time, and the participation and the willingness is so much better. There is no comparison. So you have so much time to do everything, and so that's one issue. I think the individual student has to cope with various issues in their lives. So they are in the institute for a limited period of time. So we need to be aware of this and appreciate that. That's one. Um, Somehow I don't know. I haven't felt it. I was there in beds post COVID for at least 2 3 years, 2 2 years. And I'm referring to Nirman, the Nirman within campus, the institute own student activities centers. The response, the enthusiasm, the motivation was all intact. Now, I didn't feel any difference. As a matter of fact, during COVID and post-COVID, some of the COVID-related initiatives, a lot of initiatives which Pilani did. Again, being in a rural background, I'm talking about Pilani campus where I was spending most of my time. Vice Chancellor's residence is over there. I didn't feel the difference. As a matter of fact, there was additional motivation, additional enthusiasm because of the difficulty everybody was facing and everybody around it was. So people did come forward and contribute and in many various ways. The other thing is that this is going to be a little controversial. There are campuses in our country where we see a lot of energy, a lot of time from the wonderfully, excellent, very brilliant minds who are spending a lot of time on movement, student demonstrations, and things like that. I wonder if part of that could be channelized to these directions. Things would be, there will be so many benefits. The benefits are obvious, not just the social benefits, the benefits to the universities as well. Um, I think that, maybe we could, and again, if they are partly residential, some of these institutes, that challenge will remain. The commuting places, you will not have the students, because, Varun will remember in IIT Kharagpur, most of the things happened in the evenings and late nights and weekends and so on. So post midnight, there's so much work. So there's so many people on the campus streets and roads. So so that issue has to be kept in mind. Yeah, I stop here.
Absolutely, sir. I think uh, if we can encourage them, that there will be definitely some incentives. They will come. They will come forward. It's difficult, but there will be some students who will be motivated. And if I can request Soumya from IIM Calcutta, because Siksha is doing exceptionally well, and despite being in such a hectic schedule at IIM, they are taking out time and they are doing by themselves. So, Soumya, if you can share your experience, that how you people are motivated, that despite such a difficult and exhaustive curriculum at IIM, if still you're finding time to contribute for the social development.
Thank you, sir. I think the panelists have spoken about really great initiatives that they have taken care of. And when I talk about Shiksha, I think we have different clubs here at IIM Calcutta, and Shiksha is one of them that is working towards the society. And like Alok sir mentioned, that you need to have an entire ecosystem that is basically attuned towards these social initiatives. I believe Shiksha is trying to do just that. For example, we went to one of the NGOs of UPAY, the shelter homes of UPAY, a few months ago, and we had just 2 to 3 volunteers with us. I was there, and along with me, there were 3 volunteers. We went there, we spent the entire day with the children there, and those 3 volunteers felt so good after spending that time there, after seeing how happy the kids were when we shared stationery items with them, when we took sessions with them, that when they came back, they shared their experience. Not just, it basically happened that those 3 people were definitely motivated for every event that we have now, but they made sure that their friends also at least attend one session, and that way, this is how it's moving forward. So it's just pushing people to attend maybe 1 or 2 initiatives. And then when you look at the faces of the people you're helping, when you genuinely realize that these little steps are actually making a huge impact, a huge difference in the lives of people, I think that itself is an incentive. We definitely need other tangible incentives to push the youth today. That is something that is true, unfortunately, but I feel that this intangible benefit or this intangible thing that is there, the happiness that comes with helping people, seeing those smiles, I think that itself is enough for a lot of us. So I think that is what Shiksha is trying to do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Soumya. And I'm really sorry I couldn't resist myself to speak. And so over to you, Sahil.
Hello.
And if I missed any institute,
Hello.
I think, yes, Dr. Shana, you want to share something?
Yeah,
Please.
yeah, yeah. A very good evening to one and all present over here. It's wonderful session that we have been hearing since evening, and I'm extremely sorry that I for 10 minutes I had to join in another meeting regarding the syllabus of our department. I have a little observation. Like what we feel being a social worker as well as the academician in social work department, our students are actually what we need to do is that we have to ask them not to participate just, we have to ask them to be involved, to be engaged, and then they should work with all the CVOs, being the liaison person from community agency and the institute. If they collaborate with all the stakeholders, I think that would be better for doing the service to the society. And one more thing which I feel that the students sometimes they feel problems in getting the issues because they cannot relate the theoretical understanding into the praxis. Many a times we see, we understand, and even we tell in the class that whatever you are studying in the class, you are going to utilize these knowledge into the practice. But it is a great failure for many of us because theories doesn't work in the practical field. We all have to prepare and make theories by our own, especially in the social sector areas where we social workers are working in the people, because motivating the people is most important part and which we are lacking. If you give some money to them, if you talk about some schemes, if you talk about the practices or the programs, people will hear to you. But when you are talking about something that aapko ye karna hai and you have to listen to them, people will not agree. So it is a high time for all of us, those who are in the academics, that what pedagogy we should include in the syllabus, that students be motivated to work for the people in the society, and basically those who are working for the downtrodden people, we have to think in that way. So being a social worker, when we are going to the field, we see variety of issues that people from different sectors may not be having similarities of the issues that they are facing in their practical field the way we are facing. So I'm thinking that what way the students should be involved, should be engaged, and how they work together so that the ultimate benefit for the people can be done. This is a small observation which I have gathered during my fieldwork days and even as a practitioner, academician in the field of rural Bengal. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So over to you, Sahil. And if I missed
Um,
anyone because I couldn't see their name, so
Varun, can I just chip in a bit? Just
please, please,
1 minute.
please.
One more observation which is coming to my mind is, even I have been working with my students. What I have felt is we have to make them think and make them more accountable, but we have to also make them think independently. That is, they have to come out of the shell of their parents and guardians and people. Oh my goodness, don't have to go out and don't have to work with this filthy people and all. So that is a mindset they have been conditioned into believing. So we have to make them think beyond that shell, and you have to make them think as individuals, as human beings who are responsible towards a society, who are responsible for bringing about a positive change in the society. So that is a huge factor, I guess, to make them think and to think beyond the box. So that is one challenge that I think we the social workers are definitely facing. So that was one small observation, that you have to make them work, but before that you have to make them think, and you have to make them feel for humanity, for you have to make them more sympathetic and empathetic, so that they feel the need to be the change bearer, to be the change maker. Only then can they be the agent of a change, a positive change in the society. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, ma'am, definitely. So we'll connect individually with all of you, and thank you so much. I think over to you, Sahil.
I think the one common voice that has been coming from all the faculties and everyone attending, I think that has been the motivation and the incentives from the students. And it's really refreshing to see the Shiksha team at IMC. And it was really nice to hear Soumya, who is doing great work at IMC. And I hope that percolates to other institutes and throughout the nation as well. So just to take up one question that was there in the chat. Um, so the question was, how can we use social media to create a volunteers engagement? I think if any of our panelists could answer it.
I think I'll take a stab at that. So, and that's a very, very good question, and that's something we are actively doing. And why is it important? I think everybody knows, but I'll just give a perspective. So, the biggest country on this planet is, not China, not Brazil, not India, not Russia. It's social media. There are 500 crore plus people living there. You do not need a visa or a passport to interact with anyone. And we all know how social media is being used. We all are wired to see news items and things which are, which just take us down. So this is so every initiative, and this is something that I have seen when people, and this is the Indian mentality also, our age-old mentality, that if we do something good, we do not kind of promote, or we do not kind of market it, which is great. I mean, I totally understand it. But in today's time, in 2025, when we are all speaking, we have to do that. If you do one good thing, let's say, Varunji, and kudos to your dedication and the entire team's dedication in UPAY. But why didn't I know about UPAY in the last 15 years is a question that I need to ask myself, and it's a question that you need to ask yourself. I would, know about so many scandals and so many stupid news. I mean, sorry for me using that word, but so many, aberrant news articles in newspaper, in my social feed. I should be knowing about UPAY. I should be knowing about, Nirvan, that Sobik sir said. I don't. So the only, and the way the center, and nothing against a capitalistic society, but the way the entire ecosystem works is, it'll work when there is an incentive. I'll go to Facebook, and everyone knows that, I'm not paying for it, but I am the product. Through me, they are earning millions. So no one will come out there if you feel that, in future there will be a social media agency which will promote good news. No, I can vouch for it. It will never happen because there is no capitalistic incentive around it. So the only thing that we need to do is, whenever we know of any such good initiative, if 3 people were taught today, if 4 faculty joined UPAY, if 5 people in Shiksha through you, Soumya, they did some good work, it should be in your Facebook pages, it should be on your Instagram pages, it should be on your WhatsApp status, it should be in your LinkedIn. We sometimes feel that, I should not be putting this stuff on LinkedIn, but ultimately, where are we heading? People at the best of the institutes are not happy. People at the best of the corporates are not happy. We are not happy. So these things, when they will grow, and when people like Vineet, people like Shovik ji, people like Varun ji, people like Keka madam, Devoshi madam, everyone who is out here, when people see this on your social media statuses, is when things will go. So sorry, it was a long approach, but what I meant to say was, it's an organic approach. In India, if there are 100 people and only 0.0000001% do good work, they should go all out in advertising it. They should go all out in marketing it. Even जैसे लॉर्ड बुद्ध सेड ना, अप दीपो भव, एक दीप से अगर एक भी दीप और जल गया, so it's a great thing, because we anyways have those 99.9999% people putting bad news, and which is being incentivized also. So I think that's the philosophy of social media that we should have in mind. I hope I kind of answered a bit there.
Yes, sir, definitely. Thank you, Alok, sir.
Totally
Now,
agree with
I would.
Alok. I just want to add a little bit. So the social media is all about network effect, right? And like Alok said, one beep can propagate to another, and that's the power of social media. That's this network effect, and that is what needs to be harnessed for propagation of social engagements and community service also, not just all gossip and all sorts of scandals that happen.
Definitely, sir. Promoting positive news on social media is also a necessity of today's day and age. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And now I would like to hand over to Mahendra, sir, who will take us forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sahil. So maybe just before we wrap up, I just want to again go back to the form, right, and how we can collaborate. So one thing, like we were discussing a lot about that, yes, there are so many challenges, right? But at the same time, there were so many solutions shared by like all of our speakers, right? So I think the one good way is that we can keep learning and we can keep sharing, right? So I think this is the platform where which we are going to do a lot of other things. So let me just share the form right now. Is it visible now? Can anyone confirm if it's visible?
Yes, it is visible. Yes, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So this is the form like which I've shared in this college collaboration opportunities, right? You can just simply fill your details, okay? And after this, I mean, if you're students or if you're faculties or if you're administration or organization, you can select that. And this is basically where we are like looking for collaboration, right? The first and foremost is like if very basic, which is more like an internship and volunteering opportunities for the students, like which UPAY has been giving to all the students, right? Second is becoming the change partners, right? Which we were talking about the each one and teach one, right? Under this, like, I mean, like we have so many colleges. I mean, like you are there, you're like very much interested, right? So what we can do that we can create some college chapters. I mean, in the basically in Calcutta and other part of India, right? I mean, and then like the other college chapters which were already successfully running in Delhi NCRs, right? We can keep doing something similar activities, right? So, I mean, the model which I told about that, right? I mean, having that impact partners or that is change ambassador, something like this, right? So under this, we are going to collaborate with colleges and we'll be sharing about our learnings and this is how they can take advantage of that. Third one is, let's say if you're a student, you can become a part of that. I mean, you can join this. And the fourth one is basically Samadhan and Chintan. I think this is one thing which was asked or suggested by some panelists as well, or some audience as well, that Chintan, I will talk about a Chintan a little brief. That Chintan is basically a panel discussion, right? This is what exactly we are doing right now. And I think one of the ma'am has said that it's going to open a Pandora box. Yes, exactly. This is what we want to do. So this was the first one which we did in Calcutta, and now we are going to have those discussion in almost all the colleges, right? In like Calcutta, Eastern India, and we want to create awareness about that, right? So that is what Chintan, where let's say if you want to be part of those events, right, where we go and deep, have expert panel coming to colleges talking about their experience with the students. We will be having that. Second is Samadhan. Samadhan is basically a national competition, which is more like a B plan competition. So this is because we were feeling that a lot of students were not getting practical experience, right? So this is where we thought that yes, we will actually give the students a practical platform to learn, right? So let's say, for example, if we are going to share some let's say some problem statement, right? Real problem which NGOs are facing, right? We are going to give those problem to the students. They are going to come with a solution of that, right? And once those solutions or those ideas are really good, then those students will be mentored by the experienced mentors like we are having here, right? And they will learn practicality that how those problems should be solved in real problem, so that in addition of what social activities they are doing, they're also going to get practical experience of running business or running or maybe solving any problem, right? So I think these are the 4 or 5 ideas which we feel that yes, which have done amazing with our other college partners, and we feel that we can try something similar that can help us to like resolve those problems. And at the last, any specific problems which you feel or any specific idea you feel that yes, we can try to help students to get some good experience, you can share that one. So that is a brief about that. So now I will hand over, I will ask Snehal to share the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mahendra sir. As we come to the end of this insightful session, I take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made today's webinar a success. First and foremost, a huge thank you to our panelist speakers, Souvik sir, Alok sir, and Vineet sir, who shared their insightful experiences and invaluable insights. Your words have not only educated us, but have also sparked inspiration to take action towards societal welfare. As rightly said, we live in a country where youth power is not just a phrase, but a reality. Let's try to make our classrooms where the thought of real world impact begins to take shape. To all our participants, thank you for your time, enthusiasm, and thought provoking questions. Your curiosity and willingness to engage in such discussions are what truly make platforms like Chintan meaningful. A special note of appreciation to our Impact College partner, Team Shiksha, for being the catalyst of change, and the entire organizing team at UPAY and Shiksha for their dedication in putting together this session. Your hard work behind the scenes ensures that ideas turn into action. Lastly, let's not stop here. Let today's discussions be the beginning of something bigger, whether it's volunteering, starting initiatives on your campuses, or simply spreading awareness. Each small step contributes to a larger impact. With that, I once again thank you all and look forward to seeing you in our future Chintan sessions. Stay inspired, stay engaged, and let's work together for a better future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.